Let's take a look at some of the other championship races on the day, and indeed the handicaps as well. We've got the Triumph to kick off proceedings, the Albert Bartlett on the same day. We've got the County as well, which is a notoriously difficult handicap to find the winner of. What are we looking at elsewhere on the card, Mick?
I just think Calypto in the Triumph is a horse who's been very impressive in his wins. He beat a horse called Activio, who came out and trounced the opposition in the Adonis the other day at Kempton. I think that's very good form. This horse beat older horses as well, convincingly. He's a very good traveller. He's got absolutely no problem with good ground. And I just think that he could be a bit of value. I think he's 5 or 6 to 1?
5 to 1. 11
to 2 in places. And I think that is outstanding value for a horse who's almost proven. And, for me, I think, of all the favourites throughout the whole week, I think this horse is probably the strongest.
Yeah, I agree 100%. This is, if you're going to do one thing before you leave here tonight, open your betting account and back Calypto, because Calypto, each way at 5 to 1, could be stunning value. We mentioned this the other night, but Le Rocher might not run. If the ground dries out, all of Le Rocher's form is on very soft ground, and they might save this horse for Aintree, which means that Calypto would be half the price he is today. I did a preview the other night with his jockey, Daryl Jacob, and I asked him, because all Calypto's form's on soft ground, is there any worry about the ground? And he said he would be better on better ground. And his 2 wins have been so impressive. He hasn't come off the bridle. I think he's great value at 5s, and for those of you that trade as well, if there's going to be one horse that's coming there swinging, it'll be Calypto. So if you don't want the risk, you can trade out.
Mick, anything for the handicaps? I've already mentioned Cheltenham in the County. Has got to be
I'm
a
huge fan of Cheltenhams. I think he's a very good horse at the festival. Again, he's a previous festival winner. He won the bumper round there. He's still quite well handicapped. And Philip Hobbs said that the horse blew up in the Betfair hurdle. He blew up and he finished a good 4th. It's not like he blew up and finished 7th or 8th. This is a very smart horse who's got good form at the festival. He won't mind the fact that the ground's drying out. And I think, I'm not sure what price he is now, but he was 20. He was 20s when I backed him earlier in the week.
That's what you want to hear, isn't it?
He's only going to win now.
Bill, one for you elsewhere?
Yeah, one for every year that you have an Irish banker, and it starts to develop around this week, and it shortens and shortens and shortens. There's a horse called Briar Hill that Ruby will be riding in the Albert Bartlett that gets shortened every day you wake up and you check the prices. This horse was 5 to 1, 9 to 2, 4 to 1, 7 to 2, 3 to 1, 11 to 4. He's now around the 11 to 4 mark. If there's a horse that we could flag up to you today that could start 5 to 4, 11 to 8, it's this Briar Hill. Ruby, Willie Mullins, Patrick Mullins, they're tipping it up all over Ireland. This will be the Irish banker, and I think he'll win as well. I think that King's Palace will give him a lovely lead the whole way around, and I think that Briar Hill, and that's in the Albert Bartlett on final day, on the Gold Cup day, will be the Irish banker.
Yeah, Briar Hill, former winner of the Champion Bumper. He's unbeaten. Tom, anything else for you on the card?
Has anybody heard a whisper of Richard Johnson's strongest bet of the meeting? Because I was with him the other night. He comes and rides his mum's pointers on our gallop at home, and he got off, and I said, what's the good one for Cheltenham? And he said, without a shadow of a doubt, Cheltenham. So it's not like he's not the kind of man who'd go around suggesting to anybody else he fancies anything else, so he's not trying to put us away. But no, joking aside, in isolation where the county is concerned, he had the choice of the Martin Pie, but this looks the right one to go for. But Mick's told you all about him, but 10 to 1, you think he was coming fast and late. And if he blew up in the Betfair hurdle as well after a layoff, you stop and think to yourself, he knows his way around Cheltenham, so 10 to 1 could well be shorter on the day. Again, if you fancy trading, you don't even have to take the risk.
There's so many you could give a word for, and that isn't there in the county.
There was just one I wanted to put up in the City M this morning in the Martin Pipe Conditionals jockey race. Paul Nicholls' horse, Cad de Burley. I'm not saying it'll win, but I'm saying it won't start 16 to 1. It'll be ridden by Harry Derham. If you want the value, take this. This will start single figures on the day. It was second in the Fred Winter last year. Will run its race again this year. Very competitive, but 16 to 1 is huge value still.
Best bet of the meeting then, Mick, before we wrap up?
Fox Rock for me, and I think Annie Power. If you're looking for a shorty, I think Annie Power will win, but I think Fox Rock is my nap.
Bill's banker?
I'm going to put a random one up, but I genuinely believe that if First Lieutenant lines up in a Gold Cup on good ground, I would have the biggest bet of my life on it.
Sounds good to me. Tom, one for you?
I could go with half the sentence. First lieutenant in the Ryanair, over 2 mile 5. God willing, he lines up there because as week by week by week has gone by throughout the winter, I've been shoveling it on more and more and more. So please God, he lines up in the Ryanair. Somebody ring Michael O'Leary and tell him to do the decent thing.
That's why you look like a man under pressure down there, Tom.
The beads of sweat suddenly
First
appear.
lieutenant, hopefully he wins somewhere. It's Annie Power and Foxrock for Mick, and that concludes City AM Unibet.
What about you,
Cheltenham
Gina?
Festival.
Come on, we want to give us a winner, Gina. Come on.
That's what I'll tell you. Red Sherlock in the Neptune. I saw him down at Pipey's the other day. He's looking in fine form, and I think he's got a really good chance in that. He's out of a fantastic mare called Lady Cricket, who was a top mare for the same connections. And David said he's very similar to her. So if he's got any of her ability, and he's shown he has on the track so far, I think he's the bet of the week for me.